All right, folks, positive poll. Here it is on Monday, June 15th, 2020, in the year of our Lord. I was going to actually take a couple days off, and something popped up out of the blue, out of the ordinary, and it was the genesis of this video, which will be one of my famous all over the map videos. As I am fired up a little bit. So what you're looking at is a newspaper article on July 29th, 1914, from the Brooklyn Daily Eagle, one of the few newspapers around back then that was competing against the New York Times. This particular article concerns my great-grandfather, Paul W.F. Lindner, and some of his associates as it relates to a Senate Finance Committee hearing. Now, quickly, I've gone over this quite a few times in years past. My family fled Bavaria, Germany in 1868. George Linder took his 4 kids and his wife and got them the hell out of Bavaria. I've done videos on this. I'll do another one. It's a whole different story. But George was aware of many things, and I know he was a God-fearing Christian, and that's how he raised his children. Now, when they arrived to Washington Square, Long Island in 1868, they earnestly began their farming endeavors. And he certainly must have been a heck of a farmer, because he quickly was able to purchase property, purchase land, and help feed the good folk out there on Long Island amongst many other Bavarian farmers and others of like kind. Now, my great-grandfather, his son, Paul W.F. Lindner, was born in 1877 out in Long Island. He has an older brother, Charles Henry Lindner, who was born out in Long Island in 1875. We'll get back to him. So this article concerns a gentleman by the name of Henry Keith. He was going to be nominated to be Internal Revenue Collector for the Brooklyn District. That would have been a very large responsibility, handling billions of dollars, I assume, back then. And in the process of this, Mr. Keith had his associates, which my great-grandfather was one of them. He was an up and coming politician in that area. And essentially what these people were up against, we all know about Tammany Hall. Well, these were the group in New York that they were still fighting, meaning Mr. Keith, my great-grandfather. They had done their best to fight the creation of the Federal Reserve. It's documented in the New York Times and the Brooklyn Daily Eagle. I have many articles concerning all types of matters. Some of them are now removed from the internet. But, see, these reptoids think I'm dumb. Just like I print out your phony TI reptoid YouTube comments, I make copies of these articles. Now, I couldn't get to the New York Times because they were able to block me out of there. But the short of this is essentially Mr. Keith had backed my great-grandfather to take over the job of supervisor of Hempstead in Suffolk County. And at that time, it would have been a big responsibility. So immediately you have a group of politicians, business people, and We know who they were tied to, folks. They fought my great-grandfather, Mr. Keith. There was a Thomas O'Keefe, a senator, that was also with my great-grandfather. And it's funny. One of my good friends from high school was an O'Keefe, and he got sucked into one of my little setups, which he unfortunately had nothing to do with, but that's a whole nother story, folks. But do you see? Even 100 years ago, the same families are tied together. So, look, they didn't want my great-grandfather to be supervisor of Hempstead, and they fought tooth and nail. They slandered him. They actually had made attempts on his life. There's newspaper articles, which I have. He was ran off the road, left for dead, crawling back to his brother's house in the dead of winter. They set his house on fire, did all kinds of stuff. Now, eventually they sidelined my great-grandfather and probably drove him crazy. So what ends up happening is, in 1923, at the age 47, for some reason, my great-grandfather joins the KKK. Now, this is where the problem starts. Now, as I stated, his background, he is the son of a Bavarian farmer's immigrant. We all know that the Civil War took place during the same time when these wars over in Germany and Europe took place in the 1860s and 1870s. This is not a coincidence. We also know that once they got done wrecking Europe and got control of Europe and Germany in specific, these Catholic Jesuit scum came over to the United States, and all these families that they had been hassling over in Germany were back on the radar. Now, the one thing I could say about my great-grandfather is that he clearly is on record in newspaper articles stating what his thinking was, why he was doing what he was doing, and he clearly stated that it had nothing to do with black people. He was fighting the Catholics that were destroying good, God-fearing Christians, specifically in New York. And only God knows why he would have chose to go join the KKK. But that was short-lived, as he got out of that right away. But what they did was, folks, and this goes back to the whole conundrum of satanic ritual abuse, they have used him as a scapegoat in order to essentially make my whole family look like a bunch of crazies. Now, how do they do this, folks? Well, I've already explained my situation. 53-year-old satanic ritual abuse survivor, MK Ultra trauma-based mind control, born in DC. My family's been tracked. I'm tied to the Merovingian bloodline. And I know for 100% fact, I've proven this. I have census forms going back to 1880, where I know for a fact that his older brother, Carl Henry Lindner, was seduced by the Illuminati, and however that worked, they got him on board. And unfortunately, for my family, he became one of the highest ranking Satanists to represent the Merovingian bloodline out of Europe and the United States. Now, they want to say that I'm not tied to this person. Yeah, well, here's how this works, folks. When I became a big pain in the ass to these sad sack Satanists, these lapdog Luciferians, these foolish Freemasons, they had to do damage control. And not just me. There was other people, and now they're gone. So what they do is they start a slander campaign on my great-grandfather on August 3rd, 2011. Well, 32 days later, Delgado dies. 32 days later after Delgado, Carl Henry Linder Jr. dies on my birthday, October 17th, 2011. But what they try to do is make my great-grandfather look like this stone-cold racist, someone that hated blacks, when clearly he's on record stating that black people had nothing to do with what they were up to in the KKK back then. Now, some of you, I know, I understand this situation. I've stated that the whole racial strife, the whole racism conundrum emanates from the demonic realm. Yes, there's evil white people. And yes, whether you good folk of color out there, which is another poor term, you good folk, you human beings that are tied to the Abrahamic bloodline, the ancient Israelites, that's what your whole problem is. My problem is I'm tied to Ashkenaz. And I'm not going to get into this. All right? You've got two situations. You've got people that are tied to Ashkenaz from that bloodline that are under spiritual protection, and you have the ancient Israelites that come from Shem, and they're people of color. Now, whatever the deal is with this tracking, these bloodlines, how this works, where they wait for these people that are supposed to be set aside to the Lord. When the womb of Israel's open, this is what this is all about, folks. But what they do is they create all these cover stories, if you want to say that. Now it's terrorist. All right? If it's not terrorist, it's racism. Look, their whole COVID-19 thing ran out of steam, so they had to go back to creating racial strife. So here, back to what happened today. And this is why I'm doing this video. And this is just bizarre how these people come out of nowhere. I have a lawyer call me from Long Island out in Malvern. All right, this town that my great-grandfather and his other associates started. And he's calling me because he wants to write a historical book on the town Malvern that my great-grandfather started. And he wants to make sure he portrays my great-grandfather properly. And he mentioned all the things that were written in this initial West Hempstead Historical Society write-up concerning him and my family. Now they connect him to the KKK. And I've already stated, yes, he was the most prominent man of that area who had money, who had influence. So what does he do? He joins this and they automatically make him the head of this in that area. All right? Now you're talking about someone that graduated from Princeton with a theological degree. You're talking about someone at that time, President Wilson, who wasn't a president then. He was the president of Princeton University. He was a professor. He knew my great-grandfather. He taught my great-grandfather. All right? Now, again, Wilson had backed Keith, and he put in a word for my great-grandfather. The next thing you know, these sad sack Satanists, these foolish Freemasons, these lapdog Luciferians get in Wilson's ear, and he removes his support. And it all spirals down from there. All right? You can imagine they were stalking, harassing my great-grandfather. The same shit that we go through now that I've been going through. And it leads up to, yes, all right? They try to kill him. They burn his house down. All right? They're slandering him. They're doing everything they can to bring him to his knees. So they drive him crazy. And yes, I'm not here to defend the KKK, but what I'm telling you is these no-good Nick reptoids keep doing damage control. And now it had been done in the form of time travel, in a modern sense of this. But look, I've got these articles. You can't change history. What he said is what he said. So this lawyer guy, I don't sneak up at anybody. I told him, I said, hey, look, I'm an MK Ultra survivor. People are trying to kill me. My family's deserted me. And you're going to, start this crap again with my great grandfather? And I sent them a picture of me with all the orbs. And what happens is these no good nicks, they remove one of the emails I sent to this lawyer today. So I repeat my email explaining about how you can look for these articles. So he finally writes me back saying, look, you know what? I'm sorry for your abuse. I did, this is not going to work out. So we can't continue this discussion concerning your great grandfather. And of course, he bails on me, folks, like they all do. They're cowards, because the truth of the matter is, all of New York is run by a bunch of Satanists. And I'm going to prove that. On top of laying a scorched earth policy with this phony TI community. You people, man, I tell you, you just are, you're lost in space. That's all I can say. So look, what they do is they start the slander campaign. They, in colleges, have all these professors do these dissertations on him. And the fact of the matter is, folks, someone had already in 1993 in another periodical called the Long Island Historical Journal had wrote up the true history of the KKK in Long Island. And my great-grandfather only played a small part. And what they did is they removed that from the internet. I've got the copy. I sent this to the lawyer guy so he can look at it so he gets his shit straight. But see, they think they're all jokers, that we're all dumb, and that like they're going to kill all of us satanic ritual abuse survivors off. All us MK Ultra, trauma-based mind control survivors. They're just going to wipe us out. And they don't think that there is a God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they don't think that Christ came to fix this mess. And they don't think that he's the door to get to salvation. They just want to follow these other gods that they've been warned about from time and time again, folks. So here's what we're going to do. Enough on ancient history, something that happened 100 years ago. You can write your book, and it ain't going to matter because, like I said, folks, you people are going to be swimming in the tribulation. Unless you get yourself out of this spiritual sewage, the muck and mire of this spiritual sewage you've been stewing in America, you're going to be in deep doo-doo, all you. So hold on to your seats, folks. What we're going to do is go over some of these phony TIs now. We're going to start off with this James Harkin character. And look how they all promote the frauds, all right? And they're all connected. It's funny. Look, now this when I did my gang stalking, targeted individual research last summer, again, right? String bean on top. You always see Plackinger, Harkin, Barden, all the flaming reptoids. But here we go, folks. This Harkin character, this humanoid. He's not even a Draco hybrid. He's a humanoid, and I'll explain that. So look, he's been hassling everybody, stalking people. And here I'm on Kenny's YouTube channel. I make a comment. Who shows up? Harkin. Shut your shilly hole, Paulie. All right? These characters don't realize that I got all their numbers. And that I've had this since day one figured out. And I've just been letting you people just keep sinking in quicksand. So what we do, folks, is we go over this real quick. Now, I'm going to explain something to you. Oops. Now, I've explained to the Mexican people down here that they all been lied to, and they don't even realize that they're working for Trump, the Illuminati bagman covering for Uncle Carl, Kissinger, Bush, all of them. And I've ad nauseum gone over this with the authorities, everybody. And some of it's sinking in. Some of them are catching on. But they send these little pissant kids, these little pissant gangstalker kids out in the street. This is just the other week when I had to go out. And what they do is they're out there running around, a whole army of little, Dunkoughs. And I tell them, you're messing with someone that has a mark. Now, again, in this picture, there's the mark. There's the gangstalker. My window is open. I'm yelling out the window at this kid. Que pasa, cabrón, contigo? What the hell's wrong with you? He knows what he's doing. And like always, they cover their face. But the mark of Cain is going to get you. Now, this poor kid doesn't realize this because the reptoid handlers, these creepy Canaanites that are camped out down here from the CIA and FBI, just throw these poor kids, these poor ex-cons to the wolves. They pay them their little bit of chump change, give them their Walmart cards or whatever it is they do, and they've got no clue that they're dealing with the satanic ritual abuse survivor of the highest order. And I've already shown this. When you see that mark, you're in deep doo-doo. You need to get on your knees and start praying. So they don't listen. They don't understand that they're surrounded by reptoids down here. They don't understand the guy Brian in the call center was a Draco reptilian. And the reason why he ran out of there is because his cover was going to be blown. All right? So, look, if you don't get it, New York City had been boarded up for the past couple weeks. They're pretending they're opening back up. Now, they can't keep doing these time shifts, folks. All right? They're running out of time, and it's going to all sneak up on you because you don't want to listen. Now, these phony TIs, these Draco hybrids, look, the technology is failing. They can't hide it anymore. This is what the whole COVID-19 with the mask thing is. They couldn't have you people out there in America waiting in line at the grocery store and have one of these freaks of nature start shape-shifting on you right in front of your face. So these coats of skin, the garments, all that, this holographic technology, I'm not a scientist, but when you see this, what I call the cyclops eye, the glazed over eye, they all have it, and everything else in the picture is clear as day. Their teeth, all that. This electromagnetic distortion. All right? They all have it. Now here, it doesn't matter. Let me ask you. Can they raise a baby reptoid to be a YouTube fraud or a disinfo agent? Or do you think these people understand what they're doing? You see the wackadoodle eyeball? Look in his mouth where the teeth are supposed to be right here. Do you see that, folks? But see, I'm just the dumb satanic ritual abuse survivor that was put through trauma-based mind control. And had I not, had all that happen to me, I would have been pointing this out to you a long time ago, folks. So yes, folks, you've got all shapes and stripes. These hybrids, the hybrid breeding program, you see, there's different age brackets. The original ones that were made turned into musicians. They were politicians. They were people put in cultural type positions, artists, and also controlling the legal system, judges, lawyers, all that, so they can weed out God's children, so they can weed out the ancient Israelites, anybody tied to the Abrahamic bloodline, folks. I know you don't get that. You think the targeting's all about 9/11, all right? All about terrorist here, terrorist there. Well, folks, I hate to tell you that while that may be occurring, it has nothing to do with the targeting. Now, the way this works is I'm just trying to watch simple videos. I've got this one guy that does helicopter tours who I love. He's awesome. But here we go. They're everywhere, folks. You're swimming with Draco hybrids. Now, this is the Cyclops eye from just some normal Joe Blow. All right? And it's just amazing. So, look, the Cyclops eye, all right? Here, Richie, I love you, man. And look, I'm done beating up on you, bud. I saw you squirming when you saw me jumped on your live stream the other day with Days and Noah. Come on, Rich. Really. You just come on my channel and say, hey, look, man, you know what? You're right. But you won't do that, will you? So, look, you got Cyclops here. Do you understand, folks? Do you understand that this isn't normal? Do you understand when you see that electromagnetic distortion, you see the shape-shifting, it means one thing, that they have fallen DNA. Or, you know, like I said, there's different types of hybrids. You have the humanoid type, which are almost like clones. That's like Harkin and some others. Richie's just a straight-up Draco hybrid. He's probably a second-generation hybrid. So they're all the same, male, female, Draco alike. You get the Cyclops eye. So once the technology fails, folks, you're going to see these people for what they actually look like. And yes, they always got to touch themselves trying to fix this holographic malfunction. But yes, they're all mealy-mouthed, aw shucks. You know, they aw shucks their way through everything. Everything's a walk in the park, and they're trying to convince you that, yeah, the targeting, yeah. Again, folks, someone's not sitting poolside, all right, waiting for a golf cart gangstalker to come by, doing videos telling you how to make gumballs. They're not targets, all right? Now, with these Draco hybrids, it's the same problem, folks. It's something to do with the electromagnetic distortion. And what happens is, the eyes are the first to go. And this case, it's like a slot machine. Once they start feeding you the phony baloney, all right? Once they start feeding you the phony baloney, that's when they start losing it and they shapeshift. Now, Morphonius has the slot machine eyeball thing going on too, where they roll back into his head. But you know what? He's the other Draco I like. So I'm going to leave him alone because he's Mr. Congeniality. He's the only Draco that has manners, you know? It's like hilarious. So yeah, so look, it's folks, it's just, if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what you're looking at. And there's not much I can do as far as my presentation. When you look at her neck, that's another problem. All right. Now, goofball Steve Price. Hey, where's your private investigator, Steve? Huh? Well, you've been sitting up there in your mommy's house, making videos, you sell out, blaming everything on your family. Yeah, they probably sold you out, and Okino got to you. Or maybe you're a flaming reptoid. Who knows? Who cares, right? You're gone. Now, these younger Dracos, all right? I'm going to show you what's wrong with them. Hang on. Hold on, folks. So, what you have here is, okay, this is from the US Festival 1983. This is original Draco. It's from Canada. The original hybrid breeding program took place up in Canada, also somewhere in the United States. You know, who knows? But the fact of the matter is, what happens is all these Dracos, it's something to do with their face. So their skin, you can see how his mouth, look, you see the electromagnetic distortion, how it gets pixelated on his mouth? Is that coming in? All right, so that's one of their problems, all right? Now, you see no teeth, too, folks. Where's his teeth? Well, look, there's his teeth right there. All right, folks? So what happens is there's something about the face, the hands and the face and the teeth and the eyes specifically that whack out with these Dracos. Now, here. Let's go over this real quick, and I'm going to show you something. Okay, that's Governor Reagan. Okay, right here, I have this real estate book, all right, from 1973 in California. Okay, inside the cover, there's Reagan. There's his mission statement. Now, folks, if you don't understand what you're looking at, I feel sorry for you. Now, this is how this works, folks. All right? They're all flaming reptoids. My great-grandfather, his father, many a good men and women fought these no-good Nick reptoids. And yes, they've had the upper hand because they've been sidelining all the children that got funneled into these bloodlines, folks. And when they come out, they're immediately put through satanic ritual abuse, monarch program, MK style programming, and whatever else sick and twisted games they have. Destroying innocence and children. That's what it's all about. Because Satan hates the fact that he cannot replicate Elohim's creation. He cannot duplicate. It's impossible, folks. This is what it's all about. So here you are. Here's your governor, okay? There's his mission statement. So let's continue on. Let's look at Morphonius, who his claim to fame is when he's 14, he was on George Bush's campaign trail thing with him as a 14-year-old. Yeah, good job, Jake. So look at his teeth, all right? Perfect set of choppers, but with him, it's the same thing. You get the electromagnetic distortion, but here, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on him. He's a reptoid, but he's one of the ones I like, so I'm going to leave you alone, Jake, because I like you. You do good videos, you know? But the question is, can you be saved? So let's continue, folks. So it's the same thing. Remember, three-finger Louie, folks. All right? These creepy chameleon Canaanite Draco hybrids. Let's see. There we go. That's a little better. Looked like the camera was getting a little fuzzy. So I have some more for the three-finger Louie Club, folks. All right? Do you understand? 4 fingers, good. 3 fingers, bad. Do you understand that these goofball reptoids are clueless and their whole shtick, their whole phony TI community, their whole phony disinfo community concerning everything, the R&M, the aliens, the UFOs, is all about to be turned on its head. So here's your boy, another one for the three-finger Louie Club. There you go. Look at that. There you go. Three-finger Louie. Look at this guy. All right? Now look at that, man. All right, so look. You get the point. And they always got to touch theirself. Always got to touch theirself. Trying to fix things. Right? 4 fingers. Look at the diamond-shaped craft right above me, folks. Look at that. 4 fingers good. 3 fingers bad. Do you understand, folks? 3 fingers, no bueno. Look at that. So what do you want me to do? These people could care less about me. They're waiting for me to drop dead. All right, now look, you can't see that, folks. Yeah, you know what? Your great-grandfather might have made an effort, but he knows my grandfather was murdered by these monsters because he knew about everything. He knew about Uncle Carl, Bush, the reptoid issue, everything. But you know what? You're all chump change. Now look, same thing. They all start freaking out and they get this reddish hue. All right? And she's always got to look at her handlers. Now watch this. She just literally, look at this. She's all freaked out. It's just, it's crazy, folks. And look, if you're sitting poolside making videos, pretending you're a TI, get a clue, all right? Really. Now, here's something interesting. I always watch Action Kid, but here's what they do. The other day, he comes out on 42nd Street, and look at the train that pulls up. I know you people don't get the numerology, but hey, Gabe Cruz, yeah, here you go, buddy. You know all about these numbers, don't you? Don't you, you sellout? Don't you? So, look, they do all their stuff, code it. They think they're so slick, all of them. So let's, oh, hey, who remembers Luke 23:24? Well, and look who pops up. Goofball Kevin Christensen, the dope that all you dumbasses are following. Yeah, man, look at these EMF broadcasts. Are you people that stupid? And look, hey, there's Boswell. But look, he's Spiritual Warfare Deliverance Ministry. John. Wow, okay, well, that's interesting. Weren't those the good days, right? You know, when everybody was fun, right? There's Sapanic, her buddy. And look, her parting message was, folks, watch this. It's so awesome. The Lord, well, I was about to start another study session and he directed me to your site. I opened one tab for YouTube and there you were. Blah, blah, blah. There you were. Do you notice, folks, how cornball these people are? Oh, it's the exact message at the exact time. Remember when Scotty was going to do his last video? Because he knew chasing me around was going to definitely lead to bad luck. But hey, you can have your rapture talk, Scotty. Now, goofball Richard Bruce. These flaming reptoids. Now, Rich, this is his big famous Vice video, all right? That does all the promoting for him. But when you look at his finger there, it's missing. And look at his lip right up here. I'm trying to do the best I can, folks. Can you see that? So Rich is a flaming reptoid, all right? There's certain people that were brought in for this satanic ritual abuse, MK Monarch programming, damage control, and he was one of them, along with Brian too. Now, specifically, like I said, I've got about maybe 5 people that are still around and that can be identified as real TIs, and they're the class of 2016. Now, Rich claims that, reptilians shapeshifter movies is why they're chasing him around, why helicopters are flying around. First of all, Rich, you numbskull, all right, you're a flaming Draco reptoid. And yes, you're talking Jesus, and yes, you know what? Your act is pretty good, buddy. Yeah, you pretended to be homeless. And then what? You took your payout. Now you're in your little cushy condo, mocking and scoffing at all of us. Still doing your little act. But here, his little act is no good anymore, folks. This is his act as of the other day. So here's Rich in his little condo because he took his payout. And you can clearly see how his eyeball squares off right there. It doesn't get thin. Now, Rich is a second-generation Draco hybrid. He's explained his situation. So look, you know what? I got your number, Richie. So what happens is, all right, so let's get this dialed in. For some reason, hang on, folks, hang on. Let's make sure that, there we go. Okay. Hang on, bud. Hang on. So here we go, folks. See, I can't do these videos either because I'm constantly interrupted. So Rich starts to lose it, all right? You see his teeth getting a little whacked out here, all right? Look at his teeth. Now watch this, all right? You see how his lips, the same thing. It's something to do with their lips, their mouth, their eyes, all right? Now right here, you can totally see, look at that. All right, he's starting to totally freak out. And you got to watch what he's talking about. Then when they served up their baloney, their phony baloney, all of them, they start to lose it. So it gets worse. Look at Rich's hand. What the hell happened to his pinky? It's missing. And look at this. This is like look at the little Draco thing with the claw there. See, it's like a little cap or something that's stuck on his thumb. Like, you know those things they use for envelopes? Look at that. All right? Now watch this. It's the same thing, right? Kramer. You see how it gets reddish brown with the claw? Look at Rich. With his claw thing, it gets reddish brown. And same thing. All right? There's Kramer. Come on, they're all the same. Kramer's first generation Draco hybrid. Now look at Rich's fingers. They start to weld together. All right? Look over here, the discoloration on his thumb. Can you see that, folks? All right, so look, we know, Rich, that you're a flaming reptoid. You're a disinfo agent. And it gets worse. Look, hand starts melding together. And of course, what does he do, folks? He does the self-analysis on himself to try to deflect the fact that he's a flaming reptoid. All right? And you see him, he's so smug. He knows what his deal is. He knows where he's going. So there you go. Another close-up. And, you know, see the mouth, what happens there? Now, what the hell is going on there, folks? You can't see that? All right. So Rich, all right, he jumps on this goofball, William Mount, who I keep asking about, Stu Webb, and he finally answered me. I don't know where Stu is. Yeah, because probably Stu's dead. And you're next if you don't watch your step there, buddy boy. He did this super soldier targeted individual thing back in 2016. And I can't show the date, but Richard shows up 2 years too late. His thing says 2 years ago. Oh, great video. Lots of good advice and info. Yeah, fucking goofball. So, let's, I tell you what, for right now, this is enough, all right? And look, I try to be positive, folks. And I am working on my Skywatch video. I just got 3 years worth of stuff on my camera that I'm trying to sort through. And if I can put this together, it will be one of my best videos ever. But until then, we'll just keep exposing these phony TI Draco hybrids. How's that sound?